Today is February 7th, 2024. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Well, I saw a few days ago that MSNBC host Joy Reid was on The View, another sterling program for liberals. And she was talking about a variety of topics, and one of them caught my eye, and she was talking about how she opposes war. And she says, I'm a red letter Christian. I don't believe in war. I am an anti-war person. I think she was actually talking in the context of not really Ukraine, but the Israeli-Hamas war that's going on. We Americans are war weary. We are weary of conflict. We want to progress socially, economically, from the brink of racial hatred. Let's not do war at all. Okay, so I guess my question to Joy is, what about the war on the unborn child? I mean, Joy Reid is a very strong feminist. She is very pro-choice, very pro-abortion. I mean, she just is. You got to trust me. She's very pro-abortion. But so I wanted to go back to this idea about she's a red letter Christian. Well, the term red letter refers to a red letter Bible. So a lot of Bibles are printed where the words, this is strictly the New Testament, where the words of Jesus are printed in red. And the other sections are not. They're in black ink, but the actual words of Christ are in red. So if you want to be a red letter Christian, you've got to take the words of Jesus and take them to heart, not just some of them, but all of them. I mean, you can't pick and choose which words of Jesus you want to follow and which words you don't. And I think she's somewhat selective in what she wants to listen to or adhere to. So this is for her, but mainly it's more for Joe Biden. And here again, I apologize if I'm criticizing our president, but he's talked before. I mentioned last time that he's two-faced. He supports his church's teachings, life begins at conception, but then on the other hand, he wants to make sure that every woman in America has the chance, the right to end a pregnancy, to kill a baby in the womb, because he's put his finger to the wind, and the prevailing wind is blowing, at least from his point of view, in the direction of pro-choice. And he wants to satisfy and please and appease his base, these women who love abortion so much. So let me read something that's in the red letter, Luke chapter 12, verse 16. And he, Jesus, told them a parable. The ground of a certain rich man produced a good crop. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to myself, you have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. Well, we've heard that for many years. But God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? This is how it will be with anyone who stores up things for himself, but is not rich toward God. So what has Joe Biden stored up for himself? I was a U.S. Senator for 35 years. I was a vice president for 8 years. I'm the president. I mean, my resume is just so amazing. I've done all these wonderful things in my life. I have a fancy sports car. I've got homes on the beach. I've got all these things. But is he being rich toward God in what he's done with his life? When he supports killing 64 million babies, is that being rich toward God? Really? Is that being rich toward God? I know we're all sinners, and we've all fallen short of God's glory. We have. I understand that. But when you put a blind eye to the deaths of 64 million innocent unborn babies, and somehow think nothing of it, well, you've got a problem. Not just with me. I think you got a problem with the Lord, with our mighty, with the Almighty. And I go back to that term where Jesus says, how is it? It will be for anyone who stores up things for himself, but is not rich toward God. We all need to be rich toward the things of God. We do. Okay, well, I'm not a preacher, but let me get back to my topics today. Today, in the state of Florida, the state Supreme Court heard oral arguments on or against a new pro-abortion referendum that would make abortions legal up to viability and beyond that point for practically any reason, thus all stages of pregnancy. Well, the state attorney general is asking the court to reject this ballot measure, and pro-left groups have linked arms with him. The attorney general says the ballot proposal is misleading. Hello, sound familiar with our proposal 3? Yes, indeed. Well, here's the wording for the Florida ballot proposal. Quote, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion. Those 4 words, prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict, those are important, before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health as determined by the patient's healthcare provider. Well, that's another key buzzword, healthcare provider. Not physician, but healthcare provider. Okay. Because the wording is misleading and deceptive, it violates the Florida state constitution that requires a single subject requirement. Well, that's a little complicated because the topic here is abortion, but let me just kind of keep reading. This attorney general also said that the language would, quote, completely deregulate abortion and disempower the 3 branches of government from any discretionary power to protect Florida citizens regarding abortion. Currently, the legislative branch is authorized to prohibit abortion through legislation. The executive branch is authorized to penalize citizens who violate abortion laws. And the judicial branch is authorized to delay or restrict any illegal or unconstitutional conduct. Lumping functional alterations to each branch of government in one amendment also violates the single subject requirement. He says the terms health, viability, necessary, and healthcare provider are vague and undefined terms. Now, several justices have stated this morning in these arguments that the ballot measure would change the status quo and could have multiple interpretations, which could surprise a lot of voters. Well, hello to the Reproductive Act in Michigan that took Proposal 3 and just decimated our pro-life laws, even laws that are supported by most Michiganders. Okay, one Florida justice said, quote, there are 2 scenarios. Either the words are undefined and will be played out later down the line, in which case the voters are not advised of them, or this is a very clear meaning and the voters are not advised of the fact that it is going to shift policy making from the legislature to doctors to determine when to end lives in Florida. So the legislators make policy. Doctors do not make policies, especially regarding the state constitution. Okay. Another justice said the chief purpose that is not communicated by the amendment proposed is that we would be enshrining abortion without restriction for the entire 9 months of pregnancy. That is not being communicated in the language as it is drafted now, and it has divided everyone according to their personal beliefs. Okay, now the Attorney General said, on the face of it, the amendment says, no law shall restrict. Every law and regulation restricts something. Under this amendment, the legislature would not be able to remedy or regulate bad actors. I'm assuming he's talking about abortion doctors who violate the law about late-term abortions, partial birth abortion, things like that, or other categories. A decision is expected in April whether to place the ballot proposal on the ballot in November. Okay. 2 years ago, pro-lifers made a horrible discovery when they opened medical waste boxes at a late-term abortion clinic in Washington, D.C. Inside these boxes, they found 115 bodies of aborted babies, and 5 of them were full-term. Maybe they were from a partial birth abortion, or maybe they were cases of infanticide. So, it's not the majority, but 5 were full-term. Our Justice Department, aka the Biden Justice Department, has done virtually nothing to investigate these 5 deaths. I'm at least for the sake of argument here, I'm discarding or I'm disallowing the other 110. I'm only focused on these 5 that were full term. The Justice Department has done nothing to investigate these 5 deaths. Another example of the Biden Justice Department's devotion to the abortion industry. Okay. But don't get caught praying or singing inside of an abortion clinic. You're going to get prison time for that. You can kill a baby with abortion. That's good. That's legal. That's acceptable. Pray and sing. No. That's criminal. Okay. With that sobering thought, I will let you go. I will see you next time.